Hey everyone, thank you for joining us on today's webinar. We still see a ton of people piling in. Just wanted to mention this is our most registered webinar we've ever had. We actually had to upgrade our webinar account. We had nearly 200 people registered for this webinar. So just want to give people a chance to start slotting in. We have, looks like over 70 already in the room. So we're going to give it about another minute here, and then we're going to get rocking and rolling. Wow. Make sure. Can you? Oop, that doesn't look right. Let's fix that. Does that look good? How are we looking there? Good. Cool. All right. All right, everybody, we'll get rocking and rolling here. I know folks are still piling in, and it looks like, but this webinar will be recorded, and we will circulate it afterwards. So if you had any team members that joined late, they're more than welcome to watch the recording after. But welcome, everybody. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day here. Hope you all had a wonderful New Year's and holiday season. We're really rolling into 2026 here at Viirtue. We have a lot of really fun plans as far as new go-to-market stuff for you guys, and kicking off with some new AI tooling. Just to kind of summarize and give a recap of where we were last year, we added a sentiment analysis to the platform last year. We're actually going to talk about that a little bit today. We're rebranding that product as AI Insights, and just a continuation of that product that we did see good demand. And we had a lot of asks for an embedded tool where you guys can launch your AI agents, and that's what we're going to show you today. And I'm joined by the rest of the team. Melissa's here, as well as Justin, who will be doing the demo for you today. All right. So for our agenda today, we're going to go over what an AI agent is for those of you that don't exactly know what that means. We'll go over packaging and pricing and some of the marketing assets that we put together for you guys to complete your go-to-market. We'll go over the competitive landscape and who you'll be positioning this product against. And then we'll also go over some different options. There's a few different types of ways you can deploy AI voice agents with Viirtue. You can build your own using our API. We've had some really awesome partners that have done that before that will actually have future webinars that they'll be able to showcase their products and what they've built. And some of them actually even offer like a white glove type of solution. One of the takeaways you might see today is there are, some requirements on your end as a partner as far as deploying these. You're going to have to build these for your customers, build out the call flows, tune them, train them, do all those kinds of things. So for those of you that don't want to be as hands-on as some of our other partners, I think you'll see we'll have coming down the pike here some good solutions with some of our ecosystem partners that might help you guys, again, just be a little bit more hands-off. And then we'll go into a full product demo, and then at the end, we're going to open up some polls and some Q&A, and then what's coming in the near-term future here in Q1. So moving right along, AI voice agents, again, for those of you that don't know what they are, so they're integrated AI agents into the voice platform that do real work. You can have like a human-like receptionist if you want to keep it real basic for your customers, we're going to show you today, or fully advanced, almost replicating a full-time employee that can actually perform tasks, answer questions. But that is what an AI agent is and what the platform is going to enable you to, again, deploy for your customers. We're going to go over the go-to-market packaging for you guys. We've done a bunch of research specifically with the main competitor that you'll face head-to-head, which is RingCentral. They're the ones, according to their public filings, that are really doing the best with selling AI agents in the marketplace. And that's where we really see the opportunity and, again, who you'll be competing head-to-head. So when you see a lot of the assets that we're going to be providing you guys, like battle cards and things like that, it is really positioned to help you guys sell against RingCentral. But again, the other players out there like Zoom and stuff like that, you should have no problem positioning your agents against. And then we'll also talk about, we have really in-depth training materials that we've worked on. Justin specifically, I want to give a lot of credit to him and Renee and the rest of the team that worked tightly on these materials. So we have guides for you guys, videos. We'll talk about a little bit later. You actually will have to go through a brief LMS course and get certified on the agents before you can actually deploy them. But really great training materials. They're more fun, I think, too, than ones in the past. So hopefully we don't bore you to death with training. All right, just a look at the competitive landscape. Again, when we talk to the partners who we tested this with and just research the overall market, it does really seem like RingCentral is doing the best here. And we wanted to give you just start the webinar with this understanding of who you're going up against, how they're positioning their product, what their product does, and what the price point is. So as far as what their product does, we see RingCentral in the app that we're going to show you today. They're very comparable from a feature perspective. We actually set up our own RingCentral agents to test back and forth and just see kind of just where we stacked up against them, feature wise, all that. We feel like an AI and RingCentral actually brands it as their AI receptionist, and that's kind of what we feel like more of what it does. Not as deep with integrations, not as deep with customization there. It is really kind of in our eyes was like a fancy auto attendant. They have basic scheduling integration with like Google Calendar and Outlook Calendar, which you'll see today we have as well with this agent. But for the most part, I think you'll be highly competitive from a feature standpoint, and then a pricing standpoint. There's definitely a lot to work with there as well. Where RingCentral is coming in with their agents, they're pricing them at $69 an agent. That agent includes 100 minutes. And if you see here at the bottom, this is right on their website. They're charging overage at 50 cents per minute after that. For you guys, for pricing for our existing partners, we'll go over at the end. You'll have to request an addendum. That's basically the only thing you have to do to get access to this, which will provide your pricing. And just like everything else, our pricing is tiered based on your commitment. And just to give you kind of like a rough estimate of where you'll be at pricing wise and just the margin that you'll be able to compete with, your price per user, we packaged it the exact same way. So again, you can go head to head. The user includes 100 minutes. Depending on your commitment level, you'll be about half that. And then as far as overage goes, you'll be at about a third of what RingCentral is charging per minute. So a lot of room there for you guys to either, win that business on margin, or try and undercut RingCentral to try and win the business and help, get a stickier customer. That is really what we're seeing. Once you deploy these agents, it makes for an incredibly sticky customer, because once you get it tuned and kind of go through all the motions there, it's not just like setting up an IVR and kind of, set and forget. Once you get it tuned and these customers have it where they want, it's tough to rip out, because it does run a good part of their business. So that'll be up to you. We'll give you guys, again, a few of those different business models, but at the end of the day, that's what I think really makes the partnerships that we have here so unique, is that go to market. Ultimately, it's up to you. It's your decision. All right, a few examples of where we've seen, again, just to kind of take a step back. We did about 3 or 4 months of testing with a handful of partners on this, thousands and thousands of calls. We did real world testing, partners just that used it internally for testing. And we saw a lot of different use cases that we thought made a ton of sense. And we'll talk about too a little bit later. We do have custom integration offering, where you'll be able to submit, and for a one-time fee, we'll build custom integrations. But you'll see when Justin takes you through the tooling today, you can build your own integrations, whether it be a Zapier or webhook, or again, we have the native calendar integrations in there too. And again, just kind of piggybacking on those, these are some of the use cases that we saw a lot of success. This first one is actually us. Some of you know, we have Rob and I started our business as partners of another vendor. So we still have a handful of legacy clients from 10, 15 years ago that we manage. And we set it so if they dialed our support, all those calls were going to the agent. And we found success in about 50% of those calls where the agent was able to accomplish its job, which was we built it to intake, get details about the problem that was happening, create a ticket within Zendesk, and a few other things. And we saw a tremendous amount of success. Some people still just want to speak to a live person. They ask for that. And we tuned our bot to basically transfer and not argue that. But again, for you guys as partners, and what you'll see today with Justin, one of the really cool things about this is that's really up to you guys and your customer. You can train the agent to not allow to pass to the next point unless it gathers that information, or again, however you wanted to handle those intakes and your customers do. We worked with a partner that had an insurance agency that had a third-party answering service. They were paying quite a substantial sum to, essentially just to answer calls, take a message, and forward that call to the insurance agent. So, for example, like somebody got into a car accident at 11 p.m. and had some questions. The agent, they were able to train it on their FAQs, and they were able to completely alleviate that need for a third-party, answering service, if you will. We talked to a very similar use case was a partner that had a medical practice with multiple locations. They also had a 24-hour on-call answering service. It was a very similar thing. They would call the number to the doctor's office. I'm sure a lot of you know this use case. They would get it's after hours, it's an emergency. They talk to the answering service, and now you have basically a call center person determining if this is an emergency or if this is just something that's just a message they need to relay to the doc, to the on-call doc. So we found that they were able to train the agent on specifically when to escalate it, how to escalate it, what verbiage to use, that type of stuff. And again, same thing, they were able to alleviate the 24-hour live on-call answering with an agent that was able to do the job. Some more examples that we saw. We worked with a partner that had a car dealership that had VIN Solutions as their platform, and they were able to actually book and cancel service appointments from that. I don't know if we got that far, but we talked to them a little bit deeper too. They were able to actually potentially have inventory questions. So if callers wanted to know, hey, do you have this vehicle on the lot? How much is it? Those types of things. They were able to dial into it as well. We were able to work with another partner as far as a large accounting firm that had every CPA at the accounting firm had their own account executive that was essentially just booking meetings for them. So that was able to be supplemented in most part. They weren't able to fully replace those account executives because they did a lot of things, but a big part of their job was simply taking calls and booking meetings for the CPAs, and that was taken care of with the agent. And then another one, this is actually a good friend of mine who's local here. It's a very small business. He has two people basically there. And he is always, it's a restoration company. He always had this problem scaling, was because if you have water damage, you call into a restoration company, they have to ask very unique qualifying questions that you had to kind of have been a contractor in a previous life in order to know what questions to ask. It's not something you can just hire somebody off the street. And that was always just really a bottleneck for him, that as the business owner, he was only able to take on a certain amount. If he was busy, he wasn't able to answer the phone. He wasn't able to hire somebody to take those calls, again, because the training hurdle it would have required. He was very skeptical that this would have been able to take that for him. But not only was it able to be trained and answer those complicated questions for him, but it books those appointments for him and has really kind of changed the game for his business, and he doesn't take those calls anymore. All right. So before we go into what's next, I'm